All right, so 0809-030-6416. 0809-030-6416 is the WhatsApp number. Send in your messages. What is the security situation in your areas? There have been recent reports of security of crime in your area. Let us know. Like I said, several reports that we've had. Most recent is the kidnapping trend. And for those who do not know, kidnapping is a major problem in the country. And some would attribute its rise to the early 2000s when we used to have, then they only say expatriates. That was what it was said to be then, expatriates. But beyond that, it's now become a thing where anyone could be kidnapped. Anyone and any person. There was a report that was online, and I just want to put out parts of it. If you go to the Vanguard newspaper, you would find it, something the police said. The police said that the recent killings and abductions in the country have been blown out of proportion. This was coming from the force spokesperson in an interview. He said that we are taking this out of proportion at Dejobi. He was also referring to the Ekiti State killing of monarchs and abduction of the school children and teachers. He says that incident doesn't reflect the true picture of the security situation in Ekiti State and by extension other parts of the country. By the way, we're trying to establish contact with AIG Abutu. As soon as that is done, we would have him on the show. You all are aware that in the past couple of days, the service providers have not been exceptional in their services, and that is just one of those situations this morning. But I'm very confident that we would overcome, and as soon as we have him on the line, we will get a response from him and continue with his thoughts on this particular problem that we are currently experiencing in parts of Nigeria. So back to what the first spokesperson was saying, that this thing has been blown out of proportion. How so? I wouldn't understand. Hello. All right, now we have AIG Abutu Yaro with us via telephone. Sir, you're welcome. I think I should say Happy New Year, Happy New Month, Happy New Week, and all of them together.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Well, I wouldn't want to take much of your time. We understand you're a very busy man. So we'll just get straight to the conversation. And what we want you to respond to is basically the recent cases of insecurity that we've been experiencing across different parts of the country, from the recent kidnapping in Ekiti to the issues in Rivers State, to the kidnappings in Abuja, the FCT, to the killings in Jos, to the killings in Benue. I mean, different parts of the country, different stories of kidnapping and other forms of crime. From a security perspective, and as a police officer, can you share in your experience what you think could be behind what we're seeing now? I mean, we have seen insecurity in its little forms, but it seems as though it's just on a rise this period.
Well, I think, thank you for the question. I think what we are experiencing is a byproduct of professional criminals taking their act of criminality to another level. It's a kind of an innovative criminality, so to speak, just like any other vocation or profession. The tendency for some practitioners in certain areas of human endeavor to deepen and innovate on their profession could always manifest in different trends. And one of the trends we are talking about and we are seeing, criminality, because worldwide there are some people who take criminality as a vocation, as a career, and therefore, from time to time, they invent new methodologies and deepen their art. And one of such manifestations, what we are seeing, that is one aspect. Secondly, the aspect of spillover of lawlessness that emanated from the dismantling of government, particularly Libyan government, some years ago, created a momentous vacuum in leadership in Libya. A lot of arms were let loose. A lot of armories vandalized. And you can remember, at the time Gaddafi was in power, there were many black Africans, particularly people from West Africa, the Sahelian Africa, Sahelian regions of Mali, Sahelian region of Niger, Sahelian region of, to an extent, Mauritania, were actually served in Libyan army. So when the government was destabilized, most of the Sahelian elements were already spending arms, and they had a lot of illicit weapons, and naturally, they have to cascade down to the southern region of West Africa, which unfortunately, Nigeria is their preferred place, knowing too well the location of Nigeria within the west coast of Africa. It seems like as if it's the most prosperous and the most populous country. It tends to attract people, a lot of people with arms, mercenaries, to migrate, arising from arm-bearing mission or vocation they were having in Libya as non-Libyan nationals. They have to move down this way. And to a reasonable extent, the impact of that is still what we are seeing. That is one aspect. And thirdly, of course, the decay, the pace at which they move around our territory. But I believe our experience so far is an eye-opener, and taking actions to forestall it is in progress, and we believe that in no time the situation will become a thing of the past.
All right, Mr. Yaro, from all you've said, another question that I'm pretty sure the listener and many Nigerians would have at the back of their mind is whether or not security agencies and the government didn't envisage or follow through with the trend that was happening in that space at the time to put in proper measures to ensure that we don't have a spillover, like you said, and then also to evolve in our policing and security technology to see that we don't have these criminals who have turned this into a vocation, take advantage of the situation. What steps should be taken? Are the steps being taken adequate? Are there any special inventions that we should be looking at, whether on the part of government, the citizens, or even security agencies?
Well, thank you very much. What you have said requires all society approach. What you have said is not an end-game phenomenon. The expectation is that both the government, both the security agencies, and the larger part of society, the citizens, must have an activated sense of security prevention. It's not an event that only the government or the security agencies alone can manage. Our own people, the indigenous people, the rural people, urban people, they have the more stake or greater role to play in security. I'll give you an example. If you remember, even in River State, the traditional ruler had just been suspended or been indicted for collaborating with violent cultists who are making the environment ungovernable. Security starts from we, the people first. We need to activate our security responsibility, whereas the government and the security agents will key into it. A situation whereby we, the people, leave security as the exclusive preserve of only government or the security agencies, while we, the citizens, are looking otherwise, while we, the citizens, believe that we don't have a stake, or we don't have some role to play, or while the citizens even give support or tacit support to violent criminality, it means that we are not doing the needful. And there's no way this situation can ameliorate if citizens' involvement and citizens' sensitization and preventive action is not, or nil rather.
But how can that happen successfully? Sorry to interrupt you, but I mean, let's take River State for an example. There are communities where we had citizens and indigents of those communities give reports to the police and information to the police about crime. In some cases, the indigents will say, well, the police are the ones that even put us at detriment. In some cases, these people were even killed. So now there is now the fear that, oh, these people don't feel protected. And so giving information to the police is a waste. I also spoke to someone who was in Jaws who also painted a picture that had a similar design to it, where the people do not feel confident in the police to give information or to protect them. As they are saying, when these things are happening, we don't see security personnel here. Not just the police now. We don't see security personnel here. So if we even give information, when they come to attack us, there's nobody. They say these things, and for some of them, that may have contributed to why they've decided to go mute.
I'm sorry to interject. This argument has gone beyond this school of thought. The kind of security crisis we are having in Nigeria, in Rivers State, elsewhere in the country, has gone beyond this elementary thought. Security is not a preserve from the police or the government security agency. What we are saying is that the moment they want to call society action.
All right, sir, please just hold that thought. Hold that thought. Let's take a short commercial. We'll be back.
Stay with us. Nigeria Info. We'll be back.
Welcome to this electrifying race with DSTV.
Continues here on the Morning Crossfire. AIG Abutu Yaro is with us via telephone this morning. And if you've been following, you must have heard his response to some of the questions we've asked him. Well, we need you to get on Facebook at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH and let us know in Rivers State, what's the security situation in your area? Has there been acts of crime been recorded in recent times? You can share that with us on Facebook. Hopefully security agencies are listening and might get some information from some of the things that you would share with us on the show this morning. Let's get back to my guest now. Mr. Yaro, thank you for staying with us. So you were trying to tell us about the fact that it shouldn't be a situation where we think it's just the job of the police or other security agencies and government to tackle this, and the populace saying that people don't feel safe or do not believe that the police can protect them even if they give information should not be something that should make the conversation at this time when we're facing what we're facing. So I'll just let you continue on that line.
Exactly. The point I'm making, thank you for coming back. The point I'm making is the elementary perception of I gave information to police. The information was mismanaged. We have gone beyond that. We have gone beyond that, judging from the issues at stake, the practical situation we are facing. What we are saying that in a phase of obvious criminality, organized crime, violence, and to some level, terrorism, at different levels and with different formats, the citizens need to react. For example, every village is supposed to have a vigilante, group of hunters and able-bodied men acting in certain ways that is necessary to confront criminality. When you see a kidnapper moving with a victim on the farm, you don't need to run to police to give information. You need to attack. That is citizens' action. What we have been lacking in our country is citizens' action to criminality. It's not sitting down in your room and saying, I've gone DPU, I've done this. Before, every citizen has the right to attack criminals. Every citizen has the right to make arrests. When you see a crime being committed within your premises or in your, you need to react in such a way as to foil it or apprehend it. It's a constitutional mandate. It's not that when you see a crime, you go and wait for police or you report. You take action. And the cumulative outcome of your action, later you inform government again.
What about...
I'm not finished. Hold on, my dear.
Okay.
If you see as a power staffer, when you're on top of the palm tree and you see a kidnapper and a victim residing somewhere from your vantage position on top of the palm, you come down, you take proactive action to liberate the victim, or you use any weapon or any means available to you to obstruct it. But we should not just fool around and say, I have called the police, I have called the DSS, I have called the civil. Our society has gone beyond that element.
But the people are not trained to do that. Well, people who do not have the basic combat skills and don't know.
Every human being has the instinct. There's what called natural instinct in every human being. The instinct to take action, to preserve yourself and preserve the environment. I want to give you an example. Even in our river state, we have more than 50,000 human communities, villages, and settlements in River State alone. We have more than 50,000. Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
We have more than 50,000 villages in River State. Are you saying that for every of the 50,000 villages, law enforcement agents have to be present for them to react, for them to be invited? We should be very realistic. The spontaneity of criminality in our country does not require you to wait for a certain person from you. Have to take certain action. You don't need to be trained to attack another person who is taking life of other people. You don't need to have any special training to frustrate. If somebody is kidnapped at the Bodema Road and you are living 50 kilometers away, you have a need to block the road. But the kidnapper will not pass. You need to require any training for that. Self-defense and taking certain action before you report to the authority is a natural right. You don't need to go to any training for it. Hello, sir, are you with me?
Yes, we are.
Good. The issue is that we move on. All of us are Nigerians. We know our usual attitude. Our usual attitude is just to fold our arms and begin to play games. It goes beyond that. If somebody was being robbed on me at Okoro, for you to use your bus just to cross it on the road and abandon it there, so that the people, the robbers, will not be able to pass, you require any training to close the traffic. This is what we're talking about. If people are proceeding to uniform for now, then after you go bridge, you use very vehicles to block the road there, and then you disappear, and then you inform people you need to inform. You require any training for that. In a village, as a whole village, for youth to begin to patrol the street in the night, everybody on the street with his arms, his cutlass, from 12 midnight to 6 a.m. Is that do you require any training for that? Village vigilante to function. You need to go to a police training school at no one before you patrol the streets of your village.
But people would say carry in the cases where you are carrying machetes to a gunfight. How does that work? I mean, what would eventually happen would be manslaughter. Hello.
Hunter's gun. Yes, this native gun, the hunter's gun, and permissible weapon in the community. Which, of course, even when you are fighting crime, like a hunter seeing a lion coming, you don't need to stay on the side view of the lion. You stay, in a position of camouflage and take certain actions. Better to get that job frustrated. That's the point I'm making.
Okay.
That's the point I'm making.
So from all you're saying,
the citizens actually enough is still lacking. That's the point I'm making.
All right, Mr. Yaro.
We as people, we have practically done nothing to prevent violent criminality. And we understand the circumstances of our existence. I'll give you the example of our state, Rivers. A state with about 50,000 communities, harmless villages. How do you practicalize government law enforcement entities? Especially now that criminality has taken a new tone in the country. Wherever there's spontaneity in it, criminals are found in every community. In Nigeria, in every state, in every village. So certainly, building up village security forces is very, very important. And the role of traditional rulers is very key.
Okay.
Traditional rulers need to organize every village, every hamlet, to have a modicum of security. And when those modicums are formed, they will have a linkage with the government security, their DPUs, their local DSS, so that from time to time, they will be interface. There will be communication. They will be giving them guidance tips on what to do next.
All right, you've mentioned a few things, and there are a few questions we want to just ask, respond to some of the things you've said. But before I ask those questions, let me just take some messages on Facebook for those who are watching us on Facebook. Umma Olebara says it is responsibility of government to ensure welfare of its citizens and protect lives and property. Any government that shies away from it is not being honest and not doing their job. Thank God Ability says insecurity is all over the country. Nowhere in Nigeria is safe. We're living by the grace of God. Ugo John Justice says if people are kidnapped and ransom paid without any arrest made, it's a signal of total collapse of security architecture. Alfred Orisa says no nation on earth had insecurity like Nigeria. We refused to tackle it but play politics with it. The president should resign. Umo Ebogidi says some analysts don't know how hunters are harassed, arrested, and incarcerated by security agencies for wielding guns, bows, arrows, machetes. So this is just not fair. Now, this was a question I was about to ask. We know that security officials even arrest hunters some of the time who carry these hunter guns in communities. I've had reports of that in Benue, when the cattle herders situation. We've had reports of that in Yen River State. We've had reports of that in Jos. We've had reports of that in many parts of the north as well. So it then puts the citizenry in a fixed position, because here you are saying these are some of the things that could be done, but then we have a situation where, carrying these things also puts you in the front of the law and makes you a target for some security or officers or personnel who might apprehend you for it, rightly or wrongly so. Now, you've said so much. From most of the things you've said, would you support, or would you think that if we had state policing, it could help properly manage the manpower of police, and response to some of these issues will be more swift, and even the collaboration between communities and the police would be more effective? Add community policing to that as well as state police.
Are you done?
Yes, go on with your response.
I want to thank you for your perspective. And the issue at stake does not require one-way solution. And I want to reassure everybody of that. The requirement of policing is such that whether you call it state police, local police, federal police, or whatever, to me, that just seems to be a mere nomenclature. If you look at our constitution did not define the existing police system as federal police or state police or local government police. The constitution simply says there shall be established for Nigeria a police to be called the Nigerian Police Force. It is called federal. It is not called Federal Government Police Force or state government. It's Nigerian Police Force. And when we say Nigeria, Nigeria means the union or conglomeration of 772 local governments as a federal constitution. That is Nigeria. A conglomeration of 36 states and 772 local governments. So when you say the Nigerian police, my own interpretation is very clear. It's not the police that belongs to and exists for the 772 local governments in Nigeria, that belongs to and exists for the 36 or 37 states including Abutu. In Nigeria, there's no other better interpretation. The problem we have as Nigerians is that we tend to bring some, most times, some kind of negative interpretation to situations that are very express in terms of provision. The police we have is police for Nigeria. It's not federal government police. And when we say where is Nigeria, Nigeria means 772 local government and everything in our constitution and 36 states from FCT. And the police belongs to them. So to me, ownership and the existence is not in doubt, except most times we try to bring some insidious interpretation. Now, with respect to community and weapon ownership, I must say, we are running a country. People must be honest. If communities are organized, they have security arms, they have security system at arms. If there's no community in Africa or in Nigeria that has no leadership, there's no village without village, warranty or national or traditional rulers. When communities are organized with their weapons, every village, this thing is known to their leadership, and the leader is linked on with their local security. Using these weapons as at when due will never attract any punitive reaction from government citizens. But the issue is that when there's a kind of a disconnect in terms of existence, in terms of activities, in terms of communication between village militia or armed elements in the village and the security apparatus, the considered security apparatus, it brings a lot of questions. And the need for that synergy is imperative, except we have some other motive. So that is why when somebody say in Benue, in Plateau, some people are arrested, is because of the miscommunication between the arms holders and the local authority. Maybe that is attributable. So, but the essence is that we must be on the same page. And if we're on the same page, that.
All right, I think we'd have to try and re-establish contact with my guest there. We got interrupted by our service provider, sadly. But then you've been following the conversation, so I'm pretty sure you have quite a lot to say. Let's just re-establish contact and allow him conclude on that line of thought, and so we come and take some calls and more messages. Yes, Mr. Yaro, yep, you can go ahead. We got interrupted. Yes, you can.
Good. So, this question of security agents or police arresting natives or villagers for weapons could not have arrested them if this mundane communication and coordinated understanding exists. And of course, the coordinated understanding is essential because it defines how organized societies are. We are a human society. We must have some refined interactive understanding. The absence of that must have been responsible for some of the situations or instances you refer to in Benue, in Plateau, and some parts of River State, which we need to actually bridge that gap of communication so that we can work on one page and get the desired solution.
Okay.
Then, thirdly, hello.
Yes, go on.
Good. Are you with me?
All right. Yes, we are. We are with
I
you.
want to remind people that it's a constitutional duty. Section 10 also in our constitution mandates citizens to effect arrest. You can arrest and stop criminality at every level. You can organize yourself. You can be an individual. This thing is very clear. At the moment, all of us go with the mindset of saying that security is the exclusive function of government. To me, that again is a misinterpretation of the doctrine. When we say government is an omnibus concept, which includes the full the citizens, the political appointees, the elected appointees, and the civil servants. It is the totality of this conundrum. The people, the ordinary people, the elected, the political leaders that constitute government. Government of the country is not in exclusion of the citizens. Citizens are part of government. The only thing we should have that sense of belonging, sense of attractiveness, that we do are government. We don't say government and say it's only people in government house that is government.
Okay.
Government. It's good. It's a kind of, we are trying to be economical with interpretation and understanding. And that aspect has to be understood clearly.
All right, Mr. Yaro.
So our sense of belonging will be much more. Thank you.
All right, let's take some calls now and maybe you respond to the callers before we let you continue with your day. 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003. Any of those numbers you get through to us. You can also call 070-0923-0923. I know that it's been quite difficult with the phone lines in recent times, but please, it's not just our fault. We have the service providers who many would say are not delivering the best of quality in these times. So bear with us. Just tell us your name, where you're calling from, and then get straight on to your question and contribution. Nigeria Info, good morning.
Yeah, my name is All
right,
I want to ask a question. Why is always a complainer, always a suspect? Like now, I go and give you police information. Any money hand. Like it happened to me. That I went to give police information. The man that they arrest paid them money. Then now come the man, release the man. The man now come and threatening me. He went and give police information and don't worry, I will deal with you. Why every time complainer always be a suspect? Thank you very much. God bless you.
You want to know why complainers are usually suspects. So we'll come to that. Let's just take another two, 3 more calls. Nigeria Info, good morning.
Yeah, Andrew, good morning. Good morning.
Your name, please.
Good morning. Yes, my name is JJ. I'm calling you from Port Harcourt.
All right, JJ, go ahead.
Let me greet you guys in the studio. Sir, I think you are laying too much blame on the people. I think it's the duty of DPOs and area commanders to organize town hall meetings to carry the people along in their scheme of things. Your very senior officer and the best one for that matter was killed somewhere in River State here, and almost all the arrests have been made were made by the people with their bare hands. And you are still piling fault on the people. They are not doing enough. I don't get it at all, sir. You talked about 50,000 communities in River State. It's not possible that all the 50,000 communities will be attacked at the same time or commit crime at the same time. When you people come, the governor will buy buses, will buy trucks, and buy everything. It's for mobility. What is there that some crimes are being committed, people are caught, the police just sit back like elite, oh, it's a C5 member, the people can't give up. It's not making any sense now. It should be a corporate thing so that people can work together as a team. So for me, I think the police and the people to work together, not sit back as elite and not allow the people to say, oh, because you have the right to report. Arrest people with AK-47, with general purpose machine guns and all those, and I don't get it at all, sir. I don't get it.
All right, JJ, thank you. Nigeria Info, good morning.
Yeah, hi, Andrew. Good morning.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
Yeah, move faster on the line. Let me greet your guest. I would really want to align with the last caller. It seems as though you're going to put so much of the responsibility on the people. I agree with him that security is everybody's business, but the dog stops at the table of the authority. There's a limit to what the people can do. Yeah, he's saying that we shouldn't just all the time call on the police, that we can equally attack the assailants. We've seen cases where police officers see these people and they run away. We've seen cases where these people, they give notice, prior notice before the attack. And we don't see the police or the army who come to rescue the people. So what does the people have? Okay, and now is it police saying that government shouldn't say security is an exclusive reserve for the government? The government has so much of responsibility. Police officers themselves are complaining of bad welfare. You see a policeman on the road say that he even uses his money to buy bullets, to buy uniforms, to buy all this and that. So where is the motivation? What is the level of technology we are using to fight crime? How many helicopters does the Nigerian police have? How many drones does the Nigerian police have? We keep using analog systems to fight modern day insecurity. And he's saying that the people should step up their game. There is a limit to what the people can do. That's my position this morning. Have a nice day.
All right, thank you. Nigeria Info, good morning.
Good morning, Tim Andrew.
Good morning to you.
My name is Robin Maga, the farmer.
All right, Robin, go ahead. Go ahead.
I think our guest is shifting the goalpost. The problem is complete police and not the people. Over time, over period, the people have tried to relate with the police. Look at this incident that happened in Odemuje at Ojemeni, where about 30 persons were killed, that they were giving information to the bush. And again, I want you to respond in the case of River State, where police is being used now as a tool to hold the people at the person of everything again. A crime that was committed in September, DPO, fire machine was killed in September. The River State Assembly got that fire in October. As we speak about Pakistan International Center today, in the same offense that they conspire to steal DPO, Bako, fire machine, is it possible in the world that 75%, 100 people will conspire to kill one person to commit one crime? And again, as we are speaking, everything here is being funded by police. For a crime that the Amateur will elect part of the house, go petition to IG. So what is police doing? Why is police allowing itself to be dragged into political issues to cause problems? Let him respond to it. Good morning. I remember the Maga the farmer.
All right, Robin, thank you. Let's quickly get back to my guests in the next couple of minutes. So I think the major points that were made, the last caller just talked about the police being involved in politics and he's citing examples with what's happening in Rivers State and saying the police seem to be now a tool that's more involved in the politics and used by politicians to achieve their own political witch hunt or political games. That's one. Another caller said that we seem to still be using analog ways of fighting modern day crime. I mean, we know that we're watching the BBCs and the CNNs and reality TVs and the rest that happens abroad where you see helicopters when they are chased for criminals who commit crime. Even one criminal, there was a time a criminal escaped from prison, and helicopters were deployed to chase one criminal. Yeah, and many times in Nigeria, we see these things happen, crime committed, kidnapping happen now, and then you have the police. We don't hear helicopters flying. We don't see. So it's basically still the analog method. So they want to know why that has not changed. And I think basically the questions have revolved around those. So, and the welfare of police officers. Yes, that was also another question. The welfare of police officers.
That's when I said there's need for citizens' action. You seem to have underestimated the interpretation of that. Citizens' action is not an end game. It's a continuous and multifaceted activity. Citizens' actions could come in the way of physically taking measures to obstruct or prevent serious criminality. Citizens' actions could be in the form of asking relevant government agencies why certain things are not happening. Citizens' actions can be in a way of somebody sending information by email, by Instagram, by any other medium which is consistent with the trending commission platform. You know, the question of going from my village house to the DPO's office of the report, as was the practice in the early 60s. You can be in your bedroom and report a matter to the security people in such a way and manner that there will be no even attributive reaction.
Do they look at those messages? Do they have a department?
Allow me to land.
Okay.
If I land, you have a proper understanding of the team I'm trying to put across. I'm trying to build up a response. Just 1 minute. The point I'm trying to say is that all of us are in River State. Recollect, about 12 days ago, we have what we call C4I, whereby the 5 gateway locations before we enter Port Harcourt, security apparatus on the ground there, that it was practically impossible for any invading or intruding criminal from outside Port Harcourt to enter. And it was practically almost impossible for any invading criminal outside Port Harcourt to exist. True or false? Let us ask ourselves, 12 years later, those C4 icons, are they there? Have the citizens ever asked the government that this apparatus of security that to guide us, why is it no longer working? And Rivers is one of the most enlightened states in the country. When within our country, we will say this is an advanced country. Rivers State is an advanced state in Nigeria. So the level of enlightenment, they know how.
All right, pause with your response. You continue after the commercial.
The Chief Lezimal Organic Science Quiz Competition will officially kick off on the